Hello, everybody. Dan DeFedericis from Saratoga Report, and I'm excited today. We have a very special guest on, Victoria Paterson, the co-founder of the Mostly Modern Festival. It's an international festival right here in Saratoga Springs. The fifth year, is that correct, Victoria? That's
Correct.
great. And you've had a lot of success in these 5 years. You've come back. It seems to be better every year. And welcome here to the Saratoga Report. And can you, for those, you've had such success, so many people know about it, but a few watching may not. Could you kind of briefly describe what the Mostly Modern Festival is?
So the Mostly Modern Music Festival takes place in Saratoga Springs, as you said, every June. This is our fifth season this June. And it is, to say a music festival is such a wide scope, right? Anything from Coachella to a jazz music festival, but this is more on the classical music festival side. But what makes it different than classical music is that we're doing modern music, mostly modern music. So if you think of a classical orchestra or an opera or a string quartet, you might think Mozart, you might think Beethoven, I don't know what you're thinking, Brahms, Tchaikovsky. But this is really, we mix it up. So you're going to hear maybe Stravinsky or Aaron Copland or Samuel Barber. We're definitely doing, we're doing mostly modern. We're doing some Debussy this summer. But the majority of the concert is mostly modern music with composers that are alive and well. So every show you go to, you're going to meet the composers. My husband and I co-founded this festival in 2018 in Saratoga Springs. He is a composer. I'm a violinist. So we are celebrating living composers, and it is just all so much fun to do. And we have had such a great relationship with Skidmore College. So it's all our concerts are at Skidmore College, with the exception of Cafe Lena, which is our show kickoff. On June 6th, we have our kickoff show, and that is at Cafe Lena. And then all other shows, there's a picture. Yeah, that's us at Cafe Lena. Last summer, we sold out. So get your tickets because that will sell out. This, if you haven't been to Cafe Lena is an iconic bar in Saratoga Springs. Bob Dylan, so many great country folk singers have graced that stage. And now in 2024, Cafe Lena welcomes classical music, opera, jazz, not just folk. Of course, there's folk music, but they're so welcome to all such types of music. So
Yes.
that's going to be our very first show.
And can you talk for a minute about the Arthur Zankel Music Center? I don't know if as many people know what a terrific venue that is.
So the Arthur Zankel Music Center, it's so funny, Dan, because, I've been in Saratoga now over 5 years, and I think that building has been there at least 10 years. It's this incredible concert hall at Skidmore College. But still, it's kind of new to people in Saratoga. It's still kind of new to their in the zeitgeist. Everyone knows where SPAC is because that's where Journey, or I saw Foreigner last summer, SPAC. So everybody knows that. But Zankel is a little bit of a hidden gem still. People haven't always been there. It's just on Broadway. If you're on the main street of Saratoga, it's not even 1 mile past the downtown. You can walk 15 minutes from downtown. It's one of the most beautiful concert halls. It is like Carnegie Hall in our town of Saratoga. That beautiful. In fact, I think it's more beautiful because it's got this floor to ceiling windows in the back, which look into a forest. I'm sorry, you don't have that in New York City.
No,
no, you do not. So, it's like one of the most stunning halls I've ever seen in America. And here we have it in Skidmore College. And it's just something that it's so great when the community gets to know this hall and gets to go to Skidmore College. So I welcome you all. Parking's free. It's like, I love New York City, but I'm telling you, it's so much easier to go to a concert in Saratoga Springs, right?
Yes. And you said something there and it triggered the thought in my head. I want to ask you about the person that is unlikely to go to classical music, whether it, even if it is modern. If you could talk to that person for a minute, because I just get the feeling if you love Saratoga and you love music and you love beautiful venues, that this you should give this a try, right? Could you
Yeah,
expand on that?
please. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to sell Dave Matthews when he comes to SPAC every summer, you know? So this is definitely something maybe outside of your wheelhouse. Like, oh, I don't go to classical music, let alone modern music. What the hell is that? But it's so fun. And if you're going to try something different, this is the place to do it because our concerts aren't too long. The hall is stunning. We have wine and beer at every show. You get to meet people. It's completely, I sometimes think, and I hate this, but sometimes I feel like classical music gets a bad rap as some kind of pretentious or hoity-toity fancy, like I need to wear a ball gown. There you go. That's our audience right there in the lobby at Skidmore College. People are having a great time. You
Yes,
don't
they
need to
are. It's
wear,
apparent.
yeah, it's super laid back, and it's everybody's having a wonderful time. It's just not maybe at the loud decibel level of like Journey or a Dave Matthews. So if you also, it can be extremely calming to have classical music like harp. We feature the harp, a string quartet. It's very calming to hear that kind of music. I mean, yeah, I love rock and roll. I love pop music, but like classical music can put you in a very like more calm state. And so we all need that right now.
That's
So
that's a great point.
yeah, I think it's such a great way to like test the waters with modern music and classical music because it's such a wonderful environment. And everybody's like me. Everybody's so nice. We all just want to have a good time. And the you shouldn't be intimidated by, oh, I don't understand Beethoven or I don't understand classical music, because you don't have to understand anything. It's just it's a wonderful experience, and it's really relaxing listening to classical music. Like you were saying, it's just we all need that right now.
Yes,
Take down the
and
temperature.
let let me ask you a question, because my daughter is a bit of a musician. Apparently skips generations because I'm not, but she is. My father was. What what age group would be like probably the minimum that would enjoy this if there's a family angle to this?
Oh yeah, we'd love family to come, and I would say maybe not if your kid is under 5. Someday I do want to have like a fun little kids concert because I love children, and I have a string quartet that's like totally geared towards kids. I would say if your kid is over 5.
Okay.
5 and up,
Oh, great.
teenagers, great. I always drag my teenager, and he ends up loving it. He complains, but he ends up having a good time too. So I would say anybody over 5, just maybe not babies as much as I love babies. So,
Yes, yeah, that would might not go well.
yeah,
I've got the
yeah.
website listed up there. That's how people can get tickets, of course, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And that's
And
another thing, by the way, mostly modern. I mean, look, if you go to Dave Matthews or one of those big bands, it's Blues Travelers, they're more expensive. We're at the right price point. We're about $20 a ticket. And, beer and wine at Skidmore College, it's like the best price in town, Dan. I think the
okay.
wine is $6, beer's like $5. Where are you going to get that in Saratoga at this
Ne-
point? So,
Never in the entertainment or sports industry could it'd be quadruple that.
right.
Good. Let me talk about. You mentioned your husband Robert from Buffalo, and as you know, I'm from Buffalo, and I didn't know he was from Buffalo until we recently spoke. And let me add a picture here so you can talk about some of the conductors.
So this is Joanne Falletta from the Buffalo Philharmonic. And yeah, my husband, co-founder and composer Robert Paterson is from Buffalo. And I can't wait for you to meet him this summer. We ended up now we live in Saratoga Springs and also in New York City. So we haven't been back to Buffalo. I'm from Rochester, New York. So we know New York State so well. We've been to Ithaca. We lived in Ithaca, New York for 5 years. Joanne Falletta is a Buffalo. She's been with the Buffalo Phil, gosh, since I was a kid. And
Yes.
she is like in classical music, she's famous. She's won Grammys. She's the first American female conductor to have like a major symphony orchestra position. It's becoming much more common, of course, for women to be in classical music and in leadership positions, but in the old days it was mostly men. So she was really like leading the torch back in the 80s, 90s, and she's just like a magical human being. She's so loving and she's so kind, and she loves coming to Saratoga Springs. This will be her third year coming. This is she's performing June 21st. It's going to be our
Oh,
fifth season finale. So that will be our last show. So we talked about Catalina is on June 6th. That's our first show. And then our last show is June 21st with Joanne Falletta. And she is like iconic figure. Yes, she's from Buffalo, but guess what? She conducts Hawaii, Virginia. She just got a job in Cleveland. Like, she's all over the place, but we should all come out and support her because she's from upstate and she really is so
yes.
special. Yeah.
Great. And you told me a little bit about this guest conductor, I believe.
Yes. So he's 1 week before. He is Ankush Kumar Bal on June 15th. That's Saturday, June 15th. He's brand new to me. He is an Indian conductor from San Francisco. He conducts the Omaha Symphony, and he is a big lover and proponent of modern music. So we really liked what he was up to because he loves programming new music as well as old music. And he's really cool. I mean, he just conducted Christopher Cross, who I went on tour with many years ago. Christopher Cross was a big pop star in the 80s. He did Ride
Yes.
Like the Wind and Sailing and Arthur's Theme. So this guy, Ankush, conducts all types of music. That's something that you don't know much about me, Dan, but I do Broadway, I do classical, I do pop music. And that's something that is a theme with Mostly Modern. Like, we don't just do classical nerdy, like square. I don't know if people think, oh, classical, so nerdy. We do all types of music. And so you're going to get that like awesome variety in our concerts. It's not just, I don't know, boring.
Good. That is, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for those that go, and I will be there with my wife. And now that you said kids, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm excited for all of this. I'd be remiss if I did not mention your wonderful violin playing at the city council meeting last week, which took that, maybe you've done it on stage a million times, but that's a different kind of atmosphere. And as a lot of people know, those meetings can be tense, they can be ugly. And at that point, it was a little tense, and you just broke everything and just calmed everybody. That was a beautiful thing you did there that evening,
Hey,
and that wasn't easy to do.
Thank you so much. So did you watch that?
I
Did
did.
you
I
watch?
watched it.
Yeah.
I did. I was I couldn't get it at home because I had Wi-Fi problems that night, but the next day I watched it. Yes, and when
Well,
they posted on the city, and it is still on the city council website. I should have had it here, and I could have embarrassed you and then shown it, but I
oh,
said because it was that beautiful, I would have
thank you
I
so
should have
much.
done that.
Yeah, it was
But
I have to say it was a really wild ride because I had a whole PowerPoint presentation, Dan, that I was going to present to city council and the community. It was about 8 or 10 minutes. And the meeting was going and going and going. And it was like this, I was going to show these beautiful slides and that we were, and then things were really tense because this is a tense time in our history, but it was very tense for me. I've done this before, Dan. I've done city council. It's not been that tense. And I was starting to get honestly shaky. So thank you for telling me I played well, because I was kind of shaking while I was playing the violin because I felt so like you could just feel like the energy in the room was not all love.
exactly,
And
exactly.
I decided not to do a 10-minute PowerPoint because everyone was exhausted. We had already been there like 2 hours.
Yes.
Everybody was exhausted. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to read the room here and I'm just going to play the violin and just calm everybody down, hopefully myself included. And that's what music for me, to see people that night, people had tears in their eyes. I was like a calm blanket to hold, like calm everybody down. And I felt like, wow, this is what music should be, right?
Yes.
That I don't actually have any political skin in the game here. I'm here to make people happy and to make them, make their heart rate come down. And that is one thing I would say about classical music that's different than like Prince or, Beyonce. It's like just by the fact that it's a violin or a harp or guitar,
Right.
it's like more calming. There's something
Absolutely.
about the vibrations in the room that like, so I think we all need that. And I really appreciate that you saw that. It
Yes,
was not easy.
I well, great. Well, the Mostly Modern Festival, folks, June 6th to the 21st. Some incredible music, some incredible venues, and it's all Saratoga. It's one another thing that makes Saratoga unique and wonderful. Good for you and your husband for doing it and having such success. These are risky things to do, and yet you did it and you're succeeding. Fifth year, gosh, I think you made it, Victoria. I think you guys made it. Okay,
It's
folks.
a
June
milestone.
6th.
It's a milestone. Thank you. Yeah.
Keep it going, folks. MostlyModernFestival.org. You can hit one of the links to buy tickets. Get to one of the nights. Have a beer or wine or not, a cup of tea or something, and enjoy some beautiful music. Thank you, Victoria. Thanks for joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank you, Dan.
Bye bye.